All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. So, we know that the first managerial casualty of this MLB season came courtesy of the Boston Red Sox when they made the decision to fire longtime manager Alex Cora after their 10 and 17 start under him. Now, Cora was 620 and 541 during his time as the Red Sox manager, which of course was highlighted by guiding Boston to the World Series title back in 2018. But as we saw Cora get let go on Saturday, along with the bulk of his coaching staff, you have to wonder, did Alex Cora pay for the sins of this Red Sox front office? Now, I'll tell you like this. I really don't know how Boston won 89 games and got to the playoffs last year. Alex Cora really pulled that one out of his backside because that was not a great Red Sox team. But we saw them find a way to piece it together and get to the postseason. It wasn't Alex Cora who let Alex Bregman go after last season, and now he's with the Cubs. That was the front office, okay? And honestly, at the end of the day, I think the way that Boston overachieved last year came kind of gave some people, I think, within that organization false hope heading into this season. And I think the expectations have been unrealistic based off of what they have given part of Alex Cora to work with. The Red Sox don't have a great lineup, and it's showing with their stats so far this year. It wasn't Alex Cora who went out there a couple of years ago and signed Trevor Story. And Trevor Story's hitting under 200 this season. He wasn't a great hitter at Coors Field in Colorado. So why did the Red Sox think it was going to translate to bigger and better things for him at Fenway Park? I don't know. But nonetheless, we've seen the standoffish attitude from Red Sox president Sam Kennedy as well as chief baseball officer Craig Breslow following the decision to move on from Cora. The divide between the front office and the players, which is never good. Okay. And since their last World Series title back in 2018, this to me has not been the same Red Sox organization that won those four World Series titles between 2004 and 2018. Those teams during that stretch, for the most part, had some structure. While since 2019, I feel like Boston has just been operating on a wing and a prayer. What happened to that structure? Okay, because don't get me wrong, there were some issues on those championship teams, but and of course behind the scenes, but they had enough talent to overcome it. Right now, the Red Sox don't have enough talent to overcome their shortcomings. And you look at it, of course, they've gone to Chad Tracy as the guy to try to replace Alex Cora. And of course, it didn't look great that the decision to move on from Cora came after the Red Sox beat the Orioles 17-1 on Saturday. We saw Chad Tracy win his managerial debut with Boston as they beat the Orioles 5-3 on Sunday. But then and then they won the first game against the Toronto Blue Jays 5-0. But since then, we saw the Red Sox lose on Tuesday. They got shut out, courtesy of the Blue Jays, and then they lost yesterday to Toronto once again by the score of 8-1. And just like it was when the Red Sox moved on from Alex Cora, they're still in the basement of the American League East. They have the second worst record in the American League, and this could be shaping up to be a very long summer for the folks in Beantown. Of course, they're going to ride this big wave right now. You've got the Boston Celtics, of course, in the NBA playoffs. And at the time of this recording, the Boston Bruins are still alive in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So, of course, they're going to ride that big wave. But again, when those summer months really kick in, fans want to have a reason to go out to Fenway to support the Red Sox. And honestly, the Red Sox organization has not given them that much to get behind lately. Did the Red Sox push the panic button? I truly think so because, again, Alex Cora and this team overachieved last year. And I think they truly came in here with a false pretense, if you will, about what this team could do this season. And that I honestly, I think that, along with the incompetence of this front office, resulted in Alex Cora moving on. And of course, Cora is going to find another job. I know once the Philadelphia Phillies had fired Rob Thompson earlier this week, they reached out to Cora and he said no, wants to spend some time with his family. And at some point, I think he's going to get back into coaching. It's one of those where some people will ask, was the move justified or was it not? The thing is, like it always goes, managers and coaches, they always get hired to get fired at some point. I totally get it. But what did you give Alex Cora to work with? I think the wrong people in this equation lost their jobs. And at the end of the day, there still seems to be a lack of accountability from within this Boston Red Sox organization. But I think what kind of sped things up for Alex Cora, okay, in my opinion, you go back to last week. We saw Boston get swept at home by the New York Yankees. And of course, that's never a good thing. And in those three games, not only did the Red Sox get swept, they only scored 3 runs. And like I said, this offense has been an issue all season long. But I think on the heels of that sweep by the Yankees, I feel like at that point, maybe just maybe, the clock was speeding up for Alex Cora with his time with Boston. They're going to try to figure this out somehow, some way this season. But again, I'm not sure if Boston has the people in the front office to get it done. And I think it's a crying shame because I feel like when Boston really, got back onto the scene in the early 2000s, it showed that they were going to be once like title contenders again. The money they spent on, bringing players in, developing, all of it, and to remain as contenders, for the most part for a while. I feel like all of that hard work has been thrown out of the window because we've seen the Red Sox, the way they've operated. There's no way in the world, and I know he's not the player right now that he once was, but there's no way in the world that Mookie Betts should not have finished his career in a Boston Red Sox uniform. You traded him to the Dodgers. A big market organization like the Boston Red Sox is trading one of their own in his prime. And I get it. They offered him a contract. He said no, this, that, and the third. But y'all got to try to figure out a way to make that work. And of course, the 5 guys that they got, or 6 guys, whoever they got back for from the Dodgers, it never really worked out with them. Okay, things like that. And you just look at this organization right now, and they're spending money on the wrong people. And at the same time, they're not operating like a franchise that is looking to win. And I think at the end of the day, that, in my opinion, is a slap in the face to the fans that follow them in the New England area. So, like I said, we're going to see Cora manage again at the big league level. I don't know what to make for the Red Sox at this point. I think I said coming into the season, I said that this was going to be the most competitive division in baseball. As of right now, we only have 2 teams who are above 500 in the AL East. That's the Yankees and the Rays. And of course, the Orioles and Blue Jays both are dealing with some injuries. And I think they're going to get it going at some point. But nonetheless, Boston's bringing up the rear. And I think there's going to be some separation. The way things are looking at right now, at least, there's going to be some more separation between those teams and the Red Sox as the season goes. And of course, if that's the case, 2 words for you folks come summertime in Boston: fire sale. It's one of those where it hasn't been the best of starts for the Red Sox this year. We know that. This decision by the front office has only, made things worse. It hasn't made things better. And at the end of the day, things are shaping up for it to be a very long summer at Fenway. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank each and every one of you for checking out the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. And as always, if you like what you heard and saw on this podcast, you know what to do, folks. Just hit that like button as well as subscribing to this channel. And like I always say, it's greatly appreciated. Also, if you are on the X, formerly known as Twitter, you can check me out anytime at 300 pounds of sports. And like I always say, if you give me that follow, it will be my pleasure to do the same in return. Also, if you are on Facebook, definitely check out the Sports Depot 365. And as far as I'm concerned, folks, one of the better sports groups going on social media. But until next time, fine folks, my name is William Martin. I'm signing off and I'm saying thanks once again for checking out the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. Be well, everybody.